Hello, Richard from budgetguitarist.com. This thing is still in my way. Today, I'm going to discuss Mitchell Guitars, the house brand for Guitar Center. Guitar Center owns Mitchell Guitars. As their owner, they can have Mitchell guitars made overseas for cheap, and there's no Fender or Squier or Epiphone to take a cut of the sale. Guitar Center makes the money. This is smart. Guitar Center sort of hides the fact that it owns Mitchell Guitars. I mean, I don't see any reference to Guitar Center on the Mitchell website. But obviously, if you ask the salespeople at Guitar Center, they'll tell you Mitchell is made by Guitar Center. Speaking of Mitchell, they have a YouTube channel. Did you know that? They had put out a grand total of 4 videos in the past 4 years. I mean, seriously, there's almost no marketing, no advertisement for these guitars. Almost. There are literally 10-year-olds who manage to crank out a video per week on YouTube. I mean, let's be honest, the bar is pretty low. And if you asked most guitar players to name a professional guitarist who plays Mitchell, you'd most likely get a blank stare. So without big-name artists, without significant advertising and marketing, who's buying these guitars? Based on my conversations with some folks in the business, there are 3 categories. Middle-aged to older guys looking for a deal, brand new guitar players, and parents. For the middle-aged or older guys looking for a deal, Mitchell guitars look really good, right? But the setups range from decent to beyond terrible. If you know how to adjust action, intonation, and maybe deal with sharp fret ends, then Mitchell guitars can be a great deal, especially if you pick one up used or on sale. For brand new guitar players who want something cheap that looks expensive, again, Mitchell guitars look great. You get a pretty top, unlike what you find in a Squier in this price range. Oh, wait, right? Not a pretty top. And it's cheaper than an Epiphone. But a lot of Mitchell guitars are sold to parents looking to buy their son or daughter their first electric guitar, and they don't know anything. So the salesperson can steer them to Mitchell and say Squier, and they haven't heard of either brand, but the Mitchell guitar looks nicer, and the salesperson assures them it's a better deal. Well, is it? It depends what you want. The salesperson will then suggest to the parents that they pay for a setup. Okay, in my opinion, that's a really good idea. Unless, of course, the player wants to learn how to do their own setups, which is an even better idea. But, talking about a new player here. Probably a kid. Let's not worry about that for now. There's another thing to consider. Mitchell guitars aren't going to have much resale value. So, not too many people get fired up when they find a used Mitchell selling for top dollar. To me, I couldn't care less about resale value, but, it's a point that people should consider, I guess. I have made a point of playing a lot of guitars, including Mitchells. And to me, the biggest issue with the Mitchell brand is the setup. They really do range from pretty decent to absolutely terrible. I don't like the headstock designs on any of the Mitchells, but that is totally subjective. I think that with a good setup, Mitchell guitars look great and they can sound good. I wouldn't tell someone not to buy them. They're fine. But I'd strongly suggest a good setup, unless it happens to be one of those rare examples that's good out of the box. Speaking of looks, Sam Ash, who recently decided to close my favorite music store in Clearwater, has their own store brand named Michael Kelly. And while I like the Sam Ash chain, could we just talk about their Les Paul copy compared to Mitchell? Let me move over here. I definitely got to go with the Mitchell between these two, right? The Michael Kelly Les Paul copy shape is goofy. It looks like a bad drawing of a Les Paul. So if you came to this video expecting me to bash Mitchell guitars, well, I didn't. And if you came expecting me to say they're just as good as the $2,000 guitars, well, I didn't say that either, because they're definitely not. They're designed to fit a specific part of the market, and they do that decently. And they're an option for budget-conscious players. And again, the problem with Mitchell guitars is how bad they are set up in general. And this is where we get into the single biggest problem with Guitar Center and Sam Ash. Let's say you see a Mitchell guitar at Guitar Center. You pull it off the wall and you plug it in, right? Okay, it's only $300, but it looks like a more expensive guitar. And you're like, oh, cool. You start to play it and the strings are buzzing all over the neck because the action's too low. Or it's hard to play because the action's too high. Okay, I personally can adjust the action on a guitar in under 10 minutes. If you want me to do intonation and truss rod, that's going to take more time. But 10 minutes of my time might make the difference between that guitar selling in a week and selling in a year. Adjusting the action isn't the end of setup because, like I said, intonation, neck relief, they are important. But for a beginner or a novice player who's trying out this guitar, the action is the most important thing. Why wouldn't you take 10 minutes or less and just do a quick action adjustment? Well, I'll tell you why. One, Guitar Center's a chain, and they don't want to pay an employee to do quick action setups, even though they might end up selling twice as many of those guitars over the year if they do. And two, they charge an extra fee to do a setup, so in their minds, they'd be losing money. But you're not making any setup money on a guitar that never sells. The novice player picks it up, tries to play it, and they say Mitchell guitars suck because they're hard to play. And there goes your sale. And the next time somebody brings up the brand Mitchell, they're going to be like, oh yeah, they suck. Right. If you think about it, this same concept also applies to every guitar under $1,000 that they sell, right? Some companies get this though. Most PRS SE guitars are set up twice, once at the overseas factory and once when the guitar arrives in the US. They seem to sell pretty well. I seriously doubt that Mitchell guitars are set up twice. I've played some of them that felt like they were never set up. Come on, Guitar Center. These guitars are better than people think. They just need a 10-minute action adjustment. So there you go. Maybe this was interesting to you, maybe not, but it was something I wanted to talk about, and so I did. And I will see you some future Friday at 5.